lot of YouTubers make this video, and some people were commenting like, hey, you should make a video on how to drive stick shift. So you know what? Today I'm gonna make a video on how to drive stick shift, because a lot of people, I've seen some comments where they want to see how I drive stick shift, and you know, I'll tell you guys from what I learned in my past experiences. And like I said, I know a lot of YouTubers do this already, but I'm gonna do my take on how I like to drive stick shift. So I'm gonna get my boy Tyson with me, and he doesn't normally drive a stick shift car, and the Cobra is one of those cars that's not super hard to drive stick, but it's definitely not as easy as like the 5.0, let's say. So we'll see how he does in the Cobra. I'm not gonna go into detail quite yet until we get and link up with Tyson, but I want to explain a few things about what goes into when you're driving a stick shift car. So obviously, compared to automatic, you have 3 pedals now as opposed to 2. And you know, a lot of people get intimidated by, you know, a 3rd pedal. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do, and it just seems like extra work, which it is, but it's really rewarding when you shift gears, and it's always fun to bang gears. So that's the first thing I want to note, is that you obviously have 3 pedals, and then on top of that, you have to shift your gears. That's the whole point. Manual transmission. Now most cars vary. Some are 5-speed, some are even 4-speed like the older cars, and some are even 7-speed, which I know the Corvettes are 7-speed. I think there is a 7-speed manual from Chevy. This happens to be a 6-speed, and this is from 2003, so this car was kind of ahead of its time, I would say, the Terminator. The transmission in your cars will all vary. They're gonna feel different. This transmission happens to feel very stiff and notchy, which I don't personally like it as much as how the 5.0 one feels, but you know, it gets the job done, so it's okay. Holds power. And so Tyson's behind the camera now, and I have my 2003 Cobra Terminator with us today. It has an aftermarket McLeod clutch, and so today I'm gonna give you guys some of the basics about learning to drive a manual transmission. And the first step is obviously find an area that's big like this, you know, show them around, you know. A lot of that where you can't really hit anything. I mean, there are some holes that you can hit, but Tyson's experienced enough to where that's not really an issue. But if you guys, like I said, are learning for the first time, you guys want to go to a spot where there's a lot of open space, and so we'll hop right into it. I'm gonna show you guys the first thing about learning to drive a stick shift. So, like I said, the whole thing with the manual transmission is you guys have 3 pedals now. So, you know, usually if you're in an automatic car, you just have the brake and gas. So, also, that's also one thing to note. I think it's important to see how sensitive your gas is, because you're going to need some gas to get the car going. But every clutch pedal engages or disengages differently. So, mine grabs more towards the top. Other cars will grab low. So you realistically, I think that it's important to find where the grab point is. And also, I want to note that some people say you don't need gas to start off when you first drive a manual transmission, which some cars are able to just roll by themselves without gas, but this car and most cars will need some sort of gas to actually start going. So I think that's something a lot of people say, like, oh, you don't need to use gas, when I think it's important to use gas, because that's actually what keeps you going and gives you a smooth start. So in a manual transmission, there's, like I said, there's gonna be 5 or 6 gears, and maybe 7 gears if it's like a Corvette or something. So it's an H pattern, okay? So you're gonna have first gear all the way to the left and up. Second gear is gonna be down, so we're in neutral now. Third gear is gonna be in the middle, straight up. Fourth is down. Fifth is gonna be to the right and up, and sixth is gonna be straight down. So basically, it's an H pattern. So this is like neutral. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So like I said, we'll put it in first gear, and pretty much I'm not even gonna use any gas, because pretty much we just want to see where the clutch will grab, but we're not gonna let it like keep it there and let it roll. So okay, so I'm not gonna give it any gas. We're just gonna legit feel where the clutch bites. So we'll let it out, and right there's where it starts to move. Right there. So pretty much when the clutch starts to grab right at that point, just give a little bit of gas and hold it there until you feel the clutch disengage. And we didn't scrape right there. And once you guys kind of learn where that clutch grab is, you're pretty much golden. And obviously the next step after that would be to learn how to shift gears, but we'll try it one more time. So first gear, left, up. The clutch will grab right around there. So right when it grabs, give it gas and hold it there until it fully disengages, and you'll start rolling easy in first gear. So we'll just drive around the lot. We'll go to a little more of an open spot. So pretty much when you guys are shifting gears, you're basically, when you put in the clutch, you're moving into the next gear, and pretty much you want to try and mesh the clutch and the transmission exactly at the same time so that the engine, is that kind of a good way to put it?
Yeah, you want them to be around the same speed.
Right, same speed. That's a good way to put it. First gear again, find the grab point. Right there's when it starts to grab. So when it starts to grab, give it a little gas and hold it right there until you'll feel the car disengage. We'll find some speed so we can shift a gear or two. Okay, so we'll go to second gear. Now, so it's kind of hard to explain as I'm doing it, but pretty much what I was doing is the car starts rolling. You're in first gear, you're gonna go shift to second gear now, straight down. So I'll show you guys what I did, but from this perspective. The car is rolling, you're in first gear, and clutch is obviously out. And then when you shift, when the clutch goes all the way in, move it down to second gear and give it the slightest bit of gas in between each shift.
If you're not like banging gears, you want to let the clutch out smoothly.
Smoothly, yes. Yeah, so pretty much when you hit that grab point, that's like your key. If you want to drive smooth, you want to give it gas like right at that grab point. So we'll try that again. So leaving first gear. And when we go to second gear, so we'll shift, I don't know, it depends on where you want to shift. Like 2.5 to 3,000 is pretty good for normal driving, right? Would you say? I think that's a good RPM. So you also hear it, you know? Over time, you'll start to understand. And RPM's about 2,500 or so. Clutch in, shift to second, and let the clutch out ever so slightly where it grabs, and you guys will start to feel it and understand it. We're not going too fast, so we'll probably take you guys on the road in a little bit. First gear is probably the hardest gear to get out of.
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. We're gonna make our shift to second gear. Clutch in, down. Right when the clutch grabs, hold it there a little bit, and it'll shift smooth. We'll go to third gear, so that's to the middle and up. Clutch in, repeat. And to downshift, you legit do the same thing, just in reverse. So I want to mention that some cars have a reverse lockout. Mine happens to be all the way to the right and up. Some cars like the 5.0 will have a reverse lockout lever. Mine just happens to be all the way to the right and up. So we'll try the first gear again. So clutch in, go to first gear, find that grab point, give it gas, hold it there, and you'll take off. Do a 1 to 2 shift again, about 2,500. Clutch in, second gear, release the clutch slowly. We'll go to third gear, clutch in, third gear. So me and Tyson are switching spots. Let's put the methods to use now.
Yeah.
So Tyson, let's just put the e-brake down. Actually, you should feel the gas, just rev it a little bit, see how sensitive it is. Feels good.
Oh,
pretty sensitive, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tyson is currently just feeling how the gas feels. You want to get a good feel as to how much gas you should give, and you'll gain sensitivity based on how much it feels and whatnot. So
pretty much just touch it.
Yeah, touch it.
Toe.
Pretty much. Big toe like SpongeBob.
What's the first thing you do?
1924?
No, first thing is to start the boat.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
So let's just say we could start driving immediately, but for the purpose of the video, let's just put in first gear and just feel that grab point right before it grabs. So it grabs right there, right? So it grabs pretty high, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we know that the clutch grabs pretty high, and a lot of people also, I want to mention, when they first learn how to drive a stick shift car, they when they feel the clutch grab, they just let it out, and that's also a good point. And I think that a lot of people make that mistake when they feel the clutch, or when they feel the car start to move, they immediately just take their foot off the clutch.
They get freaked out or excited.
So you want to leave your foot on the clutch right when it disengages, then you can let everything out. You'll start to feel the car move and engage. Otherwise, you're just burning the clutch and riding it. So,
And you might stall.
yes.
Clutch control, I feel like, is one of the most important things. I used to struggle with that on my dirt bike when I was little.
That's a very good point. So you kind of know where the clutch grabs
First,
so give it a little gas right when the clutch starts to grab. You guys will know, and just hold it there for a little bit. A little rough, but he got it.
yep.
That's gonna be normal for someone who hasn't driven a car like this, or it's different. Like I said, so clutch in, back to whenever you shift gears. Remember to always put the clutch in. You cannot shift the gears without the clutch in, or else that's very harmful to the car.
You don't like that.
Yeah. So Tyson will make another takeoff. So he'll put the clutch in, first gear, left and up. Right when the clutch grabs, just hold it there. Perfect. That was a great start.
Thank you.
He held the clutch in and gave it a little gas in the process. Okay, so I flipped you guys onto the GoPro now. So Tyson is gonna attempt to make the first shift from first to second gear, and we'll just see how it goes. Obviously, your first shift, it's gonna feel weird because you're not used to shifting gears and giving gas, and you kind of have to adapt over time. But if you know the concept, it should be pretty easy. Like I said, when you're shifting in between gears, you're gonna rev up 2,500 RPM, just normal driving. Clutch in, you shift down to the next gear. And when you put the clutch in, you shift to the next gear. When you hit that grab point, hold it there for kind of a little bit, and then you let out. You'll feel it though. So, Tyson, you ready? So, same concept, clutch in. When the clutch starts to grab, give it a little gas. Perfect. Give it a little gas, accelerate. Okay, go to shift, clutch in, second gear. There we go, perfect. And over time, it'll get more and more smooth because you don't know when to give gas. You'll start to feel that over time.
Yeah. I feel like the longer you drive the car, the more natural it is.
Definitely.
Pop it in neutral.
Yeah, pop it in neutral. Always clutch in, guys, when you're moving the shifter at any time. So same concept, but you're just going backwards now. So when the clutch starts to grab, and then you really don't need to like make it disengage. You just give it enough to where you start to move, because you're obviously not going to be going 5+ miles per hour in reverse. So there we go. We were on a little incline. Yeah. So we'll attempt to shift the second gear again. Go ahead. Clutch in, second gear. It's all about feeling that grab point. If your clutch grabs lower, it's going to be a little easier to drive, I'd say, because when your clutch grabs higher, you're kind of waiting for it.
Yeah, especially when you're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't know when to do it because the clutch grabs so high, but if your clutch grabs lower, it's typically a little easier. So now that we're parked, I'll probably do maybe a part 2 on like downshifting and banging gears and all that other good stuff.
Precise stuff.
Yeah, this was just more of just the basics. So I'll do a little recap. So first order of business, like I said, when you guys are learning to drive a stick shift car, find an area that's really big and has stuff where you can't really hit anything. This is just a big lot. Second, find the clutch grab point. That's the most important thing. Where your clutch grabs will dictate how you drive and will make life easier when you're first starting to drive a manual transmission. Would you say so? That's important.
Agree with that.
So, like I said when I touched bases in the video, clutch in, first gear, and then just let it out ever so slightly to the point where it starts to grab, clutch back in. Do the same thing, just keep over and over. Once you find that grab point, driving a manual will be so smooth and effortless, and then it comes natural. So when you guys are shifting gears, like from first to second, you'll go in, give it a little gas, clutch in, let off the gas, shift the shifter into second, and then go back on, let out the clutch and back on the gas ever so slightly, and you'll just repeat that process as you go through the gears. When we go to the spot we're going to, I'll show you guys how to actually shift that. But yeah, that's kind of like a good general consensus on, I think, how to drive a stick shift car. Would you say so?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna let Tyson take it over. We're gonna drive, and yeah.